waters of Lake of the Woods, something is waiting. It's waiting in the shadows for the right moment, the right instant to break from its deep water ledge and deliberately ambush its prey. When you say Lake of the Woods to most anglers, they think of walleye. That's for good reason, as it is a world-class walleye destination. But what about after you've caught enough walleyes? What about when you're ready to go after something bigger? Among its many species, this lake is known to harbor a few giants, and Northwest Angle fishing guide Scott Bowes knows just where to find them.
There's a hump out here, and it drops off all the way around to about 100 feet. But this little turn right here, there's a wall, there's a cliff.
The fish we're trying to coax up from those depths is one of the oldest and biggest in Lake of the Woods, the Lake Trout.
I don't think you can underestimate the lake trout experience. I've had so many guests come to the lake not knowing that lake trout was even an option. It wasn't even on the menu. It's just not commonly known that you can come to the lake and catch tremendous lake trout.
That's right. These guys are vertical jigging for trophy Lakers.
Scott lives on this lake. He fishes it a lot. He had a jig stroke down.
You know, you wouldn't think it'd be such a precision presentation, but these trout get so tight to, you know, these walls. They don't deviate. They come in and feed against them, and then they move back out. There's one.
Got one?
Yep.
There you go. I'll get the net.
There is one left in the lake. Well, he just crushed it too.
Did he? How big a fish is it?
It's hard telling. They're so deceiving.
Nice fish. Look at that. Oh, beauty. Oh, Scott, look at that. Oh, there goes your barbless hook.
Yep. I tell you what, that's a great regulation. Those hooks fall right out, and that fish is completely unharmed. What do you think of that, Steve?
That is awesome.
And that's an average fish.
That's an average fish.
That's not really even
right
exceptional. That's just a really nice fish. Let's get him back in the water. Wow.
Guess he wanted to go.
I guess he wanted no part of that, did he?
Scott, I got one. That was kind of a mush bite. Don't take him yet. Let me see him. Oh, it's an eel pout.
Here's another monster of the deep. The eel pout is a truly ugly fish that enjoys very little respect from anglers.
That's the famous eel pout. And even though Scott likes to eat these, I'm letting it go.
That's no eel pout.
I hope that's an eel pout. I just hope that's an eel pout.
If it is, it's a state record eel
pout.
pout.
Your guy invites you to come up fishing, and all he does is catch all the fish.
I'm in the back of the boat. That's the difference.
It's got to be. You get to run the trolling motor after this. I'm going to stand in the lucky spot.
It's my day off. It's pretty nice, Steve. They're all nice.
Jeez. I wouldn't know. Look at the size of that one.
That's a different color.
Yeah, look at how light that one is.
Yeah, those are our silvers. This is another hollow belly trout. See, cool. He's been caught before. Look at this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And that's why this catch and release is such an important part of the regulations.
Got fish. I think this is a bite.
What do you got there?
Look at the power on this. Unbelievable.
Nice fish.
Yeah, baby. That's no eel pout. Oh yeah. That's cool, huh? Look at that. Let's get him back in. Just a 1 ounce lead hollow belly tube. We got a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader tied off, and this is 12-pound nanofill that allows you to fish the deep water with this light gear.
One of the surprising things about this trip is that it is a drive-to destination. The guys opted to stay on the water as guests of Lake of the Woods houseboats.
I mean, the houseboat is just such a great opportunity to see a lot of the lake. You pull your boat behind it, you pull up into a nice cove, nice little bay, and you have the opportunity to swim and recreate. And at the same time, you don't have to travel very far to fish.
As you went to bed at night, you listened to the loons. In the morning, you hear the bald eagles scream. There is nothing better than a houseboat trip.
When we come back, more monsters of the deep as the guys chase muskies. Plus more trophy Lakers, and most likely an eel powder tube.
I quit.
I'm not going to touch it.
North American Fisherman is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Berkeley Trilene, anglers trust Berkeley Trilene, America's strongest. Quebec, providing emotions since 1534. Yeti Coolers, wildly stronger, keeps ice longer. And by these other fine sponsors.
Here's one. Yep.
There you go.
This week on North American Fisherman, we're on Lake of the Woods, fishing for the monsters at the top of the food chain.
And that's an average fish. Life is good.
Next up, a muskie.
We're going to start on this little island. It's a little kind of satellite island off this bigger island.
Yeah.
In between these two, there's a nice patch of cabbage. And that's what I look for at this time of year, is kind of little places these muskies can get in and kind of set up out of the wind and out of the current.
Also known as the fish of 1,000 casts. Getting these giants to follow a bait can be an exercise in patience, as the guys demonstrate.
The next point we're going to come to, what we call really is just an A spot. It's ledgy rock, so it comes out, it drops down, goes out a little further, drops down. It's almost terraced, and those fish will lay on those terraces. You know, if these fish come in 2 or 3 feet below the bait, they're going to be really hard to see. You know, it's dark water, dark back on that fish, and if you got a little glare on the lake, they're tough to see.
When are you going to take us to your good spot?
You know, we spent the better part of half a day trying to chase down a good muskie, Steve and I, and we had a few fish that came to the boat and followed and showed some interest. He's not real big. He's still on it.
Still on it?
But, you know, we weren't able to hook up.
Back at the houseboat, the guys couldn't help but have a little fun with a snapping turtle. The next morning, it was back to the Lakers.
I love the fact that we could park something like this, have easy access to our fishing, and have nobody around us.
It's a tremendous advantage. You cut your run times down during the day, and you can, if you want to pick up and move, you can very easily.
What do you got? You got one?
I got one.
Feel like a good one?
Yeah,
He's got good head shakes.
He's not too bad. He's still pulling.
See
There
color.
he is right here.
Nice one too. It's cold. I'm actually chilled. Got him. Nice.
Look at that.
Job.
That's that Northland bionic bucktail again.
Yep, I'm putting one on. I think we need it in that wind. Nice.
Look at that, right in the lip.
Yep,
It falls right
fell
out.
with barbless hooks. What, 12?
Yeah.
Seems like every fish is about that size.
Yep. Lake trout fishing is really very simple. You can either use your medium heavy walleye, gear that you bring to the lake, or if you're fishing smallmouth and largemouth, you can use that gear as well. And 15 to 20 pound test mainline with a 15 pound fluorocarbon leader on medium heavy bass tackle is all you need for this. And so you don't have to pack an army of additional gear and rods and lures to be able to fish these lake trout.
How big, Scott?
Oh, yeah, he's deceiving. I don't think he's a monster. He's not ready to give up quite yet.
Another trout. Check that out. Yeah, baby. Oh, I can't believe the size of some of these things. Look at that. The average fish is just insane.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, look at this back on this thing. Oh, I'm getting outfished. Outfished.
Look at his dorsal fin here. Look at that.
And look at the tail.
I know it.
Yeah, he's just an old fish. Look how beat up he is. Power tube, just a straight white tube, and these things are eating smelt down there, you're saying? And
Yeah, nothing real sexy with the presentation. It's just a nice bait fish imitator.
I can't believe the average fish, they're running about 12, 13, 14 pounds on average, huh? These fish have an air bladder in there, then they can expel it, unlike a lot of fish where you bring them up where their eyes are bugged out of deep water. These fish can move up and down in the water column, but what an awesome fish.
That's a lot of fun right there.
A good jig fisherman seems to be magical with his ability or her ability to catch fish. I don't know what it is. There's a certain jig stroke or a certain amount of line that's out that just seems to trigger fish when nothing else works. Look at the size of these head shakes. There he is. Nice trout.
Look at the weight on his fins. That is so cool.
Yep. Oh, char, man. Ah! Yes!
Little Berkeley hollow belly tube.
Lake of the Woods is a great multi-species lake. There's walleye, there's pike, there's sturgeon. There's just a ton of great fish in here. Scott, fish.
Steve, however, forgot to mention one species.
I hope this is a trout. I think it's an eel pout. No, don't do this to me.
It was just so comical because we'd pull up on just the right spot, right on the waypoint where we needed to be. And, you know, I'd hook a lake trout. And Steve would end up coming up with an eel pout. It got just to the point where it was hilarious.
I quit.
I'm not gonna touch it.
Yeah, you are.
Go in.
Oh yeah, I'm guiding this time.
Nice fish, Steve.
You know, this was one of those trips I couldn't do anything right. I worked and I worked and I worked and I finally got bit. Then he just slaps me in the face. All right. Wait, you look at the mud. Oh, that's not mud. He's out of here.
Mud of a different flavor.
Oh, jeez. When you use the right gear, you catch more fish. And I want you to enjoy the exact same success that we did on today's show. That's why we're giving you a chance to win the selection of lines and lures that we use, including a spool of 12-pound Berkeley Nanofill, a spool of 30-pound Spiderwire Stealth, 2 packs of 3-inch Power Bait Double Tail Grubs, a Sebile Stick Shad, and 2 packs each of Gulp 4 and 6-inch night crawlers. To enter this free drawing, go to Facebook and like the Fishing Club. Then, click on the TV-tested Win What's Working button at the top of the page and follow the simple instructions. Love the fish? Then like the Fishing Club on Facebook. There's a lot to like and a lot to win.
Knot Wars is next, and then Dr. Hal Schramm looks at slot limits when North American Fisherman returns.
Welcome to Knot Wars, where we pit fishing's best knots in a head-to-head competition to determine which knot you can count on. Is the trilene knot the best knot for mono? Well, we're going to find out this week because it goes up against the mighty Palomar, and the knot that wins is going to be declared the new Knot Wars champ in the mono category. For consistency, all testing will be done with 14-pound Berkeley XT Tough Red monofilament. The weekly winner will be the knot with the highest overall average after it's tied and tested a minimum of 12 times. If you missed last week's episode, here's a reminder on how to tie the trilene knot. Start by running the tag end through the hook eye 2 times to form a loop. Next, take the tag end and wrap it up the main line 3 to 5 times. Now, insert the tag end through the loop near the eye of the hook. moisten with a bit of saliva, and carefully draw tight. The challenger today is called the Palomar, and I tell you what, this is a strong knot. In fact, this is going to be a battle of the titans. But first, here's how you tie it. Start by doubling the main line and running it through the hook eye, leaving plenty of line to work with. Holding the main line, use the loop to form an overhand knot before passing the hook back through it. To tighten, pull on both the tag end and the main line after moistening with a bit of saliva. So it's the Trilene versus the Palomar. Which is stronger with mono? Let's find out. I have the trusty knot tester machine already set up. We've got our challenger here, the mighty Palomar on the left. On the right, the Trilene knot. Let's find out which is the strongest with mono. Here goes. Well, we have a winner. The Trilene knot has beat the Palomar. Folks, I didn't expect this, but the Trilene knot has performed very, very well throughout this entire competition. But look at this score, 19.9 for the Palomar. That's really solid. And you know what that means? It means that Trilene knot's been named the new Knot Wars champ in the mono category. Now next week we launch a brand new competition, this time to find the strongest knot with super lines. You're not going to want to miss it. By the way, if you'd like to practice the Trilene knot, the Palomar, or any of the knots featured in Knot Wars, simply visit fishingclub.com and click on Knot Wars. Or better yet, download the free Knot Wars app, now available for Droid and iPhone. Knot Wars, because no good fish story ends in a broken knot.
As a fishery biologist, I get a lot of questions asked by anglers. In this case, a viewer wrote in, "I've heard that although slot limits are great at accomplishing short-term gains of larger fish, the regulation can actually result in fewer of those desirable fish in the long term because every fish at the bottom end of the slot is immediately kept by anglers. Is there truth to this?" Well, what you heard is half true. The false part of the information is that there are plenty of fish to grow into the slot. The slot limit not only produces large fish, but managers use a slot limit to manipulate the growth rate of fish. And the way they grow into trophy size is by having plenty of food. To accomplish that, we reduce the population of smaller bass. We actually want the anglers to harvest the fish below the slot to reduce their abundance. That's what makes the slot limit work. A problem that many of my colleagues in the South are facing now is that the sub-slot, those fish below the minimum limit, don't get harvested, so we don't get the growth to grow the trophy fish. The right regulation, the right population, that's good for the fish, and that's great for fishing.
The following products have been field tested and approved by members of the North American Fishing Club. This fillet knife by Columbia comes with an injection-molded polypropylene sheath and handles steelhead, salmon, walleyes, and other lake and ocean fish. Dean Mickelson of Apple Valley, Minnesota thought it performed as well as knives costing much more. If you would like to become a field tester, text the word FISH plus your email address to 57682. Extreme conditions? We have something that might help when North American Fisherman continues.
I get a kick when television commercials describe rush hour traffic as extreme. If you want extreme, head 60 miles offshore in 5-foot seas, or pound your way back to land across a massive wilderness lake as darkness is falling. Taking care of your equipment not only keeps it running at its peak performance, it helps it last a lot longer, and that keeps more money in your wallet. Frankly, I'd never considered running synthetic oil in my outboards, but when I made the switch from 2-stroke technology to 4, it just made too much sense. Not only does Yamalube Marine Full Synthetic reduce engine wear and improve fuel efficiency, it helps cut down on corrosion and rust, 2 enemies to your engine. Hey, a product like this will help you prepare for those extreme conditions on the water. What do you got?
I'm not sure yet. A smile is what I've got.
It's like a big fish. There, oh, big fish. Oh man, look at the size of that one, Scott.
You know, lake trout fishing in the Lake of the Woods is something that isn't always first on people's minds when they come to fish, especially in the summer. You know, it's typically thought of as a cold water fish, maybe a winter fish.
Wow. Nice. He's pushing, what, 14, 15 maybe?
A good looking fish, huh? Pretty fat.
It's kind of your classic lake trout. I mean, look at the size of that guy. Let's hold him on level here once. Oh, he's just cold. Cold as ice, yeah.
Yep. You know, you look at the little things on their head, this is just so cool. Each one of these fish are different. If you look at that, it's not something you normally pay attention to, but it's almost like a fingerprint.
You know, these fish are just, they're extremely well fed. They're just rock hard. Obviously with that spawn coming up, but that is cool. Congrats, man.
All right, let's let her go. Down to the big blue deep there.
North American Fisherman is brought to you by Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here. By Abu Garcia, for life. Berkeley Gulp Alive. Looks alive, feels alive, tastes alive. Cabela's, the world's foremost outfitter of hunting, fishing, and outdoor gear. And by these other fine sponsors.